Buckle up, excellence junkies, because this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome to Rocket Fuel. Do you wish that you could surround yourself with people that love to kick ass just like you? Well, come to my party, baby, and meet some of the brightest stars in the entrepreneurial galaxy, because it is my mission to give these entrepreneurs a platform to declare what they are on this planet to accomplish and to show you why they are rocket fuel. Woo! Oh, guys, I am excited about this episode because we're going to be talking about money, 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 money. Okay. And, I know some people may have wrecked that song, but I still like the song of money, 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 right? This episode really, it's perfect for everybody to listen to and appreciate what it takes to actually create a profitable business. But if you are like in the zone and you're making more than $2 million in revenue, it is time for you to really understand what is going on to make yourself a profit machine. Okay. And our guest today knows about making these profit machines. This is Adam Rundle, the founder of Clever Profits. And I just love even the concept, honestly, Adam, of Clever Profits, because it's about really its strategy and not necessarily feeling, controlled by the financial situation, but actually having control of the financial situation. So I just want to point that out. Thank you, Adam, for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. And I'm privileged to be on this podcast. So thanks for having me.
Excellent. Excellent. So I want to explain to my Rocketeers that I first met Adam at a conference for one of my mentors, and he was presenting this concept of just clever profits. I think you presented the perfect P&L, right?
Correct.
Yes. The perfect profit and loss statement. And I'm like, I literally was thinking, oh my gosh, I want to poke my eyes out, because anytime, I'm being honest, anytime I talk money, like I just get like hot flashes. Like it's nerve-wracking. So I'm a visionary. And I mean, is this a common thing that you get with entrepreneurs where we're just like, I'm breaking out in hives, I don't want to talk about money?
Yeah, well, no one really likes to walk down the road naked. So, it's like not something that we do. And I think the money,
you. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's just not that we just don't do that. I mean, maybe some people in some cultures do, but we don't normally. And I guess money, when you start talking about money in businesses, that, is a little bit of an extreme analogy, but you definitely get that sense of exposure and, feeling naked, feeling, judged and all those different things, because it's the ultimate objective measure of success is, did it work? No Facebook post or no like fancy, suit or, presentation is gonna make your finances better. Your finances are your finances. It's pretty much what it is. Like, you can say whatever you want to say. They are what they are. And so I think for a lot of people, especially for entrepreneurs, where you're very positive. I'm an entrepreneur. We're positive people. We visionaries. We want to go out there. We want to achieve things. The sense of like, oh, did it actually work? Looking backwards, bearing what truly is at play is not always a fun thing to do. And I resonate with that. I'm one of those people. The reality, though, is that if your head's in the sand, well, then you're not going to get anywhere. And so I think our vision here at Clever Profits, more than anything, is like, well, it doesn't actually have to be that way. And there's so much in the financial world that's kind of built that persona, that perception of like, that's what this is about. It's this judgmental, backwards looking, harsh reality of, you succeeded or didn't, when actually that's not what it is about at all. Finances are your greatest weapon to success. If you understand your finances, you're going to probably be more successful. And that's our hope is, you don't have to have this negative feeling about it. It can be a very positive thing for you if you just understand what you're doing and what you're looking at.
Yeah. And it seems like just it makes sense. It makes sense statement. But for you to be in the financial services world, financial support world, and to understand that dynamic is so critical, because especially working with entrepreneurs, for you to speak those words automatically, I hope anybody that's listening is like, oh, somebody understands me, right? And because it is scary, you absolutely just hit the nail on the head. It feels like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to actually see on paper where I messed up. And when you're living,
and more importantly, they messed up where I went well, like where it worked. Like,
but our focus is not that.
It's always on like where we messed up. I know, but that's the sad part. It's like,
yeah,
stop focusing on that. It's focusing on where it went well, and
yeah,
you'll change the perspective of it.
But also, if you know the numbers, like I tell my clients at Catchwords, if you know the numbers, then you can optimize, right? There's the statement of, if you can measure it, then you can manage it. It's not just managing. To me, I like to optimize. So if you can measure it, then you can optimize it. And if you could be okay with celebrating the good and the bad numbers, because it gave you insight so that you could actually change your path faster. But if you don't see it, if you're not looking, then you can't make those changes. And I'm saying this because I say it to my clients, yet I don't think about it that way necessarily for my finances.
Yeah, I mean, that's true for everyone. I think everyone knows it's important. I'm not going to stand here and say it's important for you to understand what's happening financially in your business. If you're a business owner, it's obvious. It's like, no duh. Okay. I'm more here to say it's actually a lot simpler to do, and a lot simpler to get right, and a lot simpler to understand than you probably think. Potentially, I don't know where people are in their businesses. And what I've learned in my time doing what I do is that the accounting world has made it very complicated for good reasons. I'm not knocking that the accounting world is wrong. It made it very complicated because you have a set of principles that were built to support every type of business in the world. And when I say every type of business, I'm talking about BP oil. Operates on every continent in the world, has hundreds, I don't know how many thousands of employees. They are they're extracting oil out of the ground, and then they're refining that into the different products they have. And then they ship that across the world and distribute that. I mean, accounting, the principle of accounting, help you solve that problem, help you create consistency there, so that when you look at BP and then you look at Shell and then you look at Exxon and you can compare them. That's what accounting does. And it's great. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not BP. I don't have all that stuff. I'm pretty simple. I just have 45 employees and I service some clients. Like, 95% of that stuff that applies to BP, I never have to think about ever again in my life, and will never think about in my life. But when people say accounting, that whole dumpster like lands on top of you. And I'm going, no, it doesn't. Just think about what's applicable to you, what's important for you. And that's why I get frustrated with the accounting industry. I think it's become way more complicated than it truly is, especially for entrepreneurs. And so if we can debunk that a little bit and just iron that out a bit, then I think everyone wins.
Yeah. And so when did you have that realization and start Clever Profits and start creating this kind of framework-based business?
Yeah, so you could probably hear from my accent, I'm not a Native American. I'm from South Africa, and I studied accounting, and I was working at a law firm. I became the financial director for this law firm for a while, and I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot around learning something in a book, or learning how balance sheets work and PLs work and general ledgers and accounting principles, and actually putting them into business practice. I think I got to learn a lot. And then, fortunately, I got an opportunity with my wife to move to the US. We met some pretty incredible people who started an incredible business. Jasper, I think a lot of people know who Jasper are. They they do AI copywriting. They were my first ever client. They used to live out in Annapolis, the 3 founders.
Wow, yes.
And so I started working with them, and they started, just from a financial consulting standpoint, they were trying to get some clarity on their business. It wasn't Jasper then, it was something else. And they were trying to get some clarity. I was helping them. They introduced me to a bunch of people. And I started this kind of consulting. Hey, I understand accounting. I have a passion for business. I think I've got this a little bit of a way of translating the X's and O's that you learn in accounting at school to practical world. I'd love to try that. So I kind of did that for a while. And then I read 2 books that really shaped the way I think about finance at the moment. The Simple Numbers, Big Profits from Greg Crabtree. It's a very good book. And then Profit First from Mike Michalowicz. And these 2, Profit First, very mindset driven. How do you think about money? Profit first in your business. I love the book. Was like, okay, I understand it. Not the most practical book. I can't really do a lot with it. It just can change the way I think. You read Simple Numbers, Big Profits, and there's I would say it may even be painful to read if you're not an accountant, because it is very X's and O's. It's very technical. And I realized there's probably a middle ground here. You could probably find the middle world here, and then started thinking about that and developed what we call the perfect P&L. Is this concept of how do you build the perfect profitability model in your business. I never forget when I was very young, I was learning how to play chess. And one of the things I learned in chess was, and I love chess, I play quite a lot of chess, is, you can put your pieces in a certain place to maximize their ability to impact the game, both from an attacking and a defensive, offensive, defensive manner. And there's this model where you can put your pieces in this perfect formation that gives every piece its maximum ability to do both.
Max potential, optimizing.
And the reality is, like, it's not almost impossible. It's possible, but it's extremely rare that you would ever do that in a chess game, because you're obviously reacting to the opposition. So someone else is doing something, so you can't just do your own thing. You got to react. So the likelihood of you actually ever putting those pieces in that format is next to 0. But that doesn't matter. Through learning that, I learned how to use each piece. So I may not be able to use it that way, but I started to learn how each piece is leveraged the best. And then, there's a numerical value to each piece and how that plays into it. And so I love that concept, and I'm a sports coach. So I use that kind of concept in sports coaching. How do you create the perfect game plan? It's never going to happen. You're reacting to the opposition. They're going to do their own thing. Nothing's going to really work the way you want it to work. But if you have an idea, if you have a plan. So I took all of those kind of concepts, bundle them together in this perfect P&L. Well, let's create the same thing for businesses. And I'm working with clients, and I'm getting asked all the questions. How much should I pay myself? Am I spending the right amount of money on advertising? Am I spending the right amount of money on my team? Is my pricing correct? Is my profit margin correct? Everyone asks the same questions.
Yeah.
We all ask them. And I'm going, I don't know if I can truly answer these, because I never had a framework. And so through those books and this, I then started to put a framework together. And then I joined up with my business partner, Brian Nguyen, got a profit started. And now we're a business that does this. But that's the framework we use, and how I got to this point of, okay, without a framework, it's pretty hard to do anything. And so the framework is just, we call it the perfect P&L. How many people truly run the perfect P&L consistently for 12 months? 0. Yet to have a client.
Strive.
100%. And there's ebbs and flows, and sometimes you do better than it, sometimes you do worse than it. And the world is like that. Performance is like that. It's up and down. There's variability, and that's great. That's fine. But if you have a framework that you can aim for, that you can navigate decisions around, that you can objectively look at your business as well as subjectively, not just one or the other. You got to do both. If you have all of this in place, the likelihood is you're going to make better decisions. A better decision means the likelihood that you're going to be more successful. No guarantees, but hey, aren't we all trying to just do the best we can? And so you may as well do the best we can then. And if, let's do as much as we can to do the best we can. So that's the thought.
This is good stuff. I never would have thought I would have had so much fun actually talking about the numbers. No, but I'm going to repeat the breath of fresh air is having that recognition, the recognition of you're not going to get it perfect. the really speaking to any business that is hitting 2 million or more has done that because they have some sort of framework.
Oh, and their framework may not be this financial framework. If you're generating more than $200,000-$300,000 a year as an entrepreneur, you've got something. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a ton to celebrate. I've been there before. I started my business myself, consulting gig, pay me a little bit. Like, I know how hard it is. I know how it is to get clients. I know how it is to hire people. I know how it is to scale it. So if you're doing that, you're doing a great job. All we wanted to say is, how do we continue doing a great job? And could we do a better job? And could we
make
just
it
be
scalable?
100%. And blind spots, I speak about this quite a lot, is the painful thing about a blind spot is it's blind. You just don't know it exists. I mean, you can talk about blind spots as much as you want. If it's blind, it's blind. You don't know it's there. So you're sitting here, and I mean, I've uncovered probably 10, 15 different blind spots in my own business in the last 6 months. I never knew they existed until I knew they existed. And so part of our job is, okay, well, we've done this for other people. We have a framework. We can start uncovering some of these blind spots or opportunities or whatever it is that you haven't seen, not because we're better than you, not because we understand your business better. There's no one understands your business better than you do. You built it. We're just here to help you. We just here to help you be the best you can be.
Yeah. Oh, this is good stuff. So clearly, guys, we have limited time with Adam, and that we ask every single one of our guests to provide our audience with some gift and educational gift. And I'm telling you, Adam, woo-hoo, you dropped a major value bomb for our audience. Okay, so here I printed it. If you're on video, you can tell I have this big old packet. It's called the Financial Flywheel. And I'm going to ask you a little bit more about, the concept of a flywheel and why you chose that. But this here piece is like the epitome of all of these wonderful like philosophies that you have. Just to kind of explain to folks, I felt like from a mindset perspective, it was like, oh yeah, I feel comfortable about what a financial framework could look like. It wasn't scary, but you also dropped some really amazing tools. So well, first of all, I'm going to dig into it. But guys, if you want to see what I'm looking at right here, it's excellent stuff. I want you to pull out your cell phone right now. If you're driving, pull over. If you're running, just pull over, whatever you do when you're running, and pull out that phone, text RF for rocket fuel -clever. All right. RF -clever to 411321. Provide your email address. If you've never texted a catchword before, I hope that's not the case, but provide that email address because you will receive this amazing piece called the Financial Flywheel with all this like mind blowing. I want you to take, this is my recommendation after reviewing it. Say for the next 2 to 3 days, you're going to take a half an hour to read a little bit and write some notes because it's just going to spark a lot of thoughts about how you want to approach your business. And then you're going to click on the button in the email and actually, connect with Adam. But that's besides the point. Oh, if you're outside of the US here, please, we never forget you. Text RF-clever to 1-909-741-1321. You could do that using text if you're in Canada, Mexico, or using WhatsApp. Okay. So that's RF-clever to 1-909-741-1321. You do not want to miss out on this resource. Honestly, even if you're making less than 2 million, you need this resource. So you were telling me, because I was asking you, who is this for? So tell me a little bit more about why this is kind of good for any business owner.
Well, I mean, the concept of a flywheel is pretty simple. Very rarely in life is there a silver golden bullet of things that to success. You don't just do one thing and then all of a sudden you're successful. So, let's say I wanted to become healthier and I wanted to lose weight. I can't just drink more water. I've got to drink more water. I've got to sleep better. I've got to work out. I've got to eat better. I've got to reduce my stress. I've got to do all these different things. And the compound effect of them is what actually leads to success. And what you find in a flywheel, it's not just the compound, it's that one actually feeds the other. So the better you sleep, the more energy you have to work out. The more you work out, the more endorphins you get. That means more energy you have. and the more focused you'll be on maybe eating well. And so it's not just, the compound effect of doing them, it's that they actually feed each other. And by doing each one, it enables the next the next step to be better. And then this flywheel kicks in where you're kind of feeding yourself. And I believe it's the same thing in anything, but in finances is very similar. Is if you get some of these concepts right, and not right, if you understand them and you know how to utilize them in your business and how you think about it, that's going to create a flywheel effect of where not only are you going to get this compound effect that is important to anything, but they're going to feed themselves. The success of one is going to enable the success of the next. And the hope is that, yes, there's going to be derailing. You're going to hit blocks in your business. You're going to hit ups and downs. But the more positive, the better the financial flywheel you have in place, the more likely it is you're going to kind of absorb those knocks and just carry on and just, boulder over the roadblock. And so that's the concept of a flywheel. And then in the financial realm, it's just, these are some of the principles that we follow in saying, hey, kind of, if you're going to read this, kind of forget about anything you've ever learned about finances. If you've ever taken a finance course, just forget about what you learn about. If you understand debits and credits, and just forget about all that kind of stuff. I use this analogy before, long before there was debits and credits and QuickBooks accounts and zeros accounts and P&Ls and balance sheets and, double entry systems and gap principles. But long before all of that, there was business. I've used this analogy. 2,000 years ago, there was some guy standing on the side of a road in Greece, and he was selling wine. And he was running a business. Okay. And what was he doing every day in order to run a successful business? And yet, when we translate that to pure financial talk, I think we lose an essence of what we're trying to do because we get bogged down in the technicalities. Forget about that. Just think about your business. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to generate revenue? How are you trying to do that? And then allow the accounting to come in, not the other way around. Don't let the accounting define how you want to run, how your business operates, because accounting is there to create a picture of your business, not the other way around. And so just using some of these principles around, understanding the constraints in your business, understanding what do you need to be successful? How do you think about cash flow and paying yourself? And just understanding these concepts is going to enable you to have a better grasp of what is actually happening in your business. And then hopefully once you have that grasp, you can start utilizing that to make better decisions.
Yes. And I think why this particular thing that I'm going to point out here, your golden ratio table that you have in here and in your talk as well. I witnessed people just light up when you started talking about this. And it's because it was finally something that it was connecting the finances to our business, what we're doing every day versus just looking at it as a numbers thing. It was actually helping us connect to how we're functioning. I don't know how to even put words to it. So I'm going to explain. Well, I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to ask you to explain it, but I'm going to put it up to the screen, but not going to let you guys see it too much because all you need to do is text RF-clever and then you'll have it here to look at it. But this golden ratio table helped me understand whether, based on the type of business I was running, this is my understanding, and then you're going to help me here. What percentage of my revenue, or what percent? Okay. So what percentage of my revenue I should be using on client acquisition versus fulfillment and team, right? I think you got even in deeper in this. And this was like, oh my gosh, imagine if when I run YouTube ads, I want people to tell me like, okay, what are the standards? What should I be shooting for? What are my goals, right? And to be able to say, oh my gosh, am I spending too much money on client acquisition because I should be spending more on team, or vice versa? So it's based on a done for you business, consulting business, a done with you business, and a product or a course. And it's really interesting how you're showing me on the very high level that if you have a product or a course, you should be spending way more money on client acquisition versus on fulfillment and team. But obviously the biggest difference is if you're doing a done for you, obviously, which there's a lot more money on fulfillment versus client acquisition. But the question is, what? It's like the actual percentages. How did you get to these percentages? And can you tell us a little bit more about how you use it in supporting people?
Yeah. So I'll take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
If you forget about accounting, how do you make money? And how do you make money?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the way you make money is people are going to pay you money.
Yeah.
So someone's got to take out their credit card or whatever it is, and they're going to pay you money. So
Mm-hmm.
you that's how you generate income. So
Mm-hmm.
so how do you do that? Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to get clients. So acquisition. The first thing you got to do is get people who are prepared to pay you. That's why marketing and all that kind of stuff is big, because we need people to actually pay us money. Then we need to deliver the product that we want to give, or the service, or whatever it is we need to deliver. That's fulfillment. Those two are the most fundamental parts of your business. I'm not talking about manufacturing businesses here. I'm not talking about e-commerce business. I'm talking about service-based businesses right now. Forget about accounting. I want to make money. I offer accounting services to the world. I want to make money. So the first thing I got to do is I got to go out and I got to find prospects and I convert them to say, yes, I'll pay you money. Then I've got to pay myself or a team of people to deliver the service to everyone else. That's the golden ratio. That's the heartbeat of every service-based business. That's not accounting. That's just common sense.
Yep.
Then the other things, like I've got to keep the lights on. I've got to maybe have rent if I want rent, or insurance, software, and these other different things. They're important. I'm not saying they're not important, but they're the overheads. They just keep the machine going. I'm not going to get more software to get more clients. I may utilize more software in my process of getting more clients, but I don't invest in software to get more clients. I invest in client acquisition to get more clients, and I may utilize software. So there's this whole bucket of overheads that exist. But ultimately, those are the three forces at play in our business: client acquisition, fulfillment, delivery, and then overheads, keeping the lights on. Yes. And the heartbeat is client acquisition, fulfillment. If you want to scale your business, you want to grow, you got to get that ratio right. You got to spend the right amount of money on acquisition, the right amount of money on fulfillment as often as you can, so that you can maximize profitability, generate free cash flow. Through that, you can pay yourself more money, reinvest it back into those parts of your business to grow and scale your business. And so what we did is, through working with agencies and people who have courses and consultants and products, we just pulled the data and we started to see the trend of where are people who are being successful. They've got a high profit margin, more than 25%. They're clearly generating a healthy return in their business through the effort they're putting in. What does theirs look like? And as we pulled that, we kind of gathered all this data and got, okay, these are kind of where the buckets land up at. And go back to my perfect analogy, is not everyone's going to hit all of these numbers perfectly. It's not about that. It's just a guideline. Okay, so if I am a done-for-you digital marketing agency, I should be expecting to spend around 10% on acquisition and around 45% of my revenue on fulfillment. That's a great guideline. Some people spend more, some people spend less, but it's a great way for me to start to understand, is this healthy? Is this not healthy? Is this where I want it to be or not want it to be? How could I change that? If I'm spending 20% on acquisition, if I want to change that, what do I need to do? Hey, maybe it's a pricing question. Maybe it's not even an efficiency of your marketing. Maybe your marketing is great. Maybe your conversions are great. Your cost per leads are amazing. Maybe your pricing is wrong. Maybe if I just adjust pricing, I can get a different ratio here. Or maybe it's not pricing. Maybe it is the other things. And it just unearths the potential areas we can improve.
Because once you have that target, then as you're measuring yourself, you can start evaluating what are the things that are keeping you from that target. And when I looked at it, we're in between, as a software, we're in between what I would call product course and then done with you, right? Because we have higher level programs where we could optimize your software. And so I looked at the numbers and I said, but depending on the phase of my business, there were times where I was spending a lot more on team fulfillment or optimization of operations, right? Because I knew that I was going to start increasing my investment in client acquisition, and I wanted to make sure that team could handle the increase, right? So then that would be a thing where I would look at the ratio and say, okay, but there's a reason why my ratio is off. I know I'm going to flip back to that ratio. And I might actually even go a little bit on the flip side and say, I'm going to spend even more money than the 35% on client acquisition, because I want to make up for the fact that I wasn't as profitable because I was working more on the back end. And
we call that growth cycles. I don't think it's not in the financial flywheel document. We call that growth cycles. This clear example of, you don't, when you grow, and I'm going to use my hand now, and I know people are listening on a podcast, I'm going to use my hand and
You're
I'm
just
going
gonna
to
have to find the
describe
video.
it. Okay. People think, oh, I just go from A to B in a straight line, just straight growth, straight up. Okay. I mean, who's ever seen a
No
stock
way.
market chart? Who's ever seen anything that measures performance? It's never straight. It's always up and down. There's positives, and it goes, it's good, then it drops off. That happens. That's fine.
Yeah.
Through the perfect P&L, we navigate growth cycles. So if you're in this, hey, I'm trying to get more clients, we can say, who cares about the perfect P&L? Let's go and spend an extra 20% on acquisition to expedite that growth. Our profit margin may be low, but we expedite that growth. Then we build efficiency. Now let's scale back on acquisition costs. Let's get it back to the number we want it to be at. Let's now be profitable at this level. Okay, so then we plateau a little bit. Okay, then we go to the next level. So I've got YouTube videos on growth cycles and stuff that will explain it a lot better than me and my hands on a podcast. But you're 100% right. It's just a guideline. It's a guideline that says, if you understand this, you can now utilize this to go and grow and scale your business and just be effective. No one wakes up in the morning. I often say this. No one wakes up in the morning and goes, today I'm going to screw it up.
Right.
Today I'm just going to do a horrible job. Today I'm just going to crash and burn, and it's just going to be pathetic. No,
Right.
and especially not entrepreneurs. We wake up going, all the energy in the universe, we're going, come on, let's go. We're going to make this thing good. And that's great. We want that. Here's a tool. That goes, okay, well, if you use this, it's maybe a little bit easier.
Yeah. This is awesome stuff. We're well over time, but it was well worth it. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm scared of looking at the numbers, but I want to learn more, because you should. Remember, it's not about whether you are smart enough to figure this out yourself, right? Experts are rocket fuel. This is why we're here. And honestly, this is a beautiful example of when somebody is actually focused on this particular challenge. They're going to bring you frameworks. They're going to bring you standards and goals to hit, so that your time thinking about finances are optimized, right? Because you have a guide. And this is, I'm just like waving my flag and waving your flag, because this is a true example. So if you have not texted to receive this resource, please pull out your phone. Do it now. I don't want you to forget. Text RF for Rocket Fuel -clever, CLEVER, just in case you need it, to 411321. And then you're going to provide your email address so that you get this instantly. Check your junk or spam just in case it goes in. I'm actually going to specifically say it for this one, because I noticed that when catchwords are related to finances and stuff, a lot of spam filters will like catch numbers and stuff. So check your folder. It's there. It's delivered. If you're outside of the US, text RF-clever to 1909-741-1321. You can use text. You can use WhatsApp, whatever it is. Provide your email address. Get this resource. It's highly valuable. And there is a link there for you. So you can click and just send Adam an email and say, hey, can I have your calendar link? I just need to talk to you guys. What are the different ways that you support people before we hop off?
Yeah, so we're a strategic advisory firm that focuses on, accounting is the bread and butter of what we do. So, whether it's just setting up a financial system in a business and then handing it over to you and your bookkeepers, or whoever it is, to carry on and just get you on your way, or managing that system A to Z with payrolls, taxes, all those different little pieces. We kind of do all of that. A big focus on advisory as well. Advisory being, exiting your business, looking, hey, I now want to sell, or I want to buy, and what's that process around doing that. That's the kind of gambit that we serve. And so there's no real size piece, Yeah, we say around $2 million a year is a great time that we could probably help you quite a lot. You could be making $200,000 a year and you just want a financial system, and we can put one in for you and plug it in and get you going. Those are, it depends what you need. Everyone's got different needs. My encouragement to everyone is, if you're going, okay, I feel like this is important. I don't really have anything. My thing I say to most people, just go to YouTube and just go watch some of my videos and listen to me talk about the perfect P&L. Listen to me talk about paying yourself and sales commissions and how you do compensation structures and cash flow and growth cycles, and just listen to it. And if you go, okay, this makes sense and this resonates with me and I'm interested, then we could be a great fit. If you're like, I think this is gibberish and I'm not interested, then great. Like, it's not just because I believe it doesn't mean that you believe it. That's fine. That's normally the best way. You can go and absorb a lot of content and go, oh, okay, this makes sense, and we can go to the next step if you want to chat. And if not, just that content is going to probably help you make some good decisions, which everyone wants.
Excellent. So on YouTube, they can look up Adam Rundle as well as Clever Profits. Perfect. Adam, it is clear why you are hashtag Rocket Fuel. And I'm very, very happy that you joined us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Wanda. Thanks for having me, and appreciate being on this podcast.
Thank you. And to you, Rocketeers, I hope that you have a rockin' day. Bye now. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, every one of our episodes is boosted by a value-packed keyword called a catchword. Yeah. This allows our audiences to text to receive even more value from our guests. So take advantage of that great value. And if you share your expertise by guesting on podcasts or TV or speaking in front of live or digital audiences, then you're leaving anonymous fans behind. So go get a catchword at catchwords.com, KETCH words.com, and use podcast20 as a promo code for 20% off your setup fee. Look, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Rocket Fuel podcast so you never miss your jolt of Rocket Fuel. Until next time, adios.